Hey everybody, welcome. Ken Coscia here, lead instructor and international training director for the Silva Method. I'm outside of Chicago, I'm in the Chicago area, getting ready to deliver, starting tomorrow, the 4-day immersion of the Silva Life and Intuition System. And I'm here in the meeting room, finishing up some preparations as we get ready. And I was thinking about this topic, mastery. And what is it really? Those of you who follow my work, those of you who are Silva Method graduates also know that I offer a program called the Silva Mastery System. So it's about mastering the Silva tools. However, whether you are an entrepreneur and you're studying marketing techniques, studying the new technology, whether you're an artist or a musician and you're honing your craft, wanting to enhance your skills, improve, or in any career, whatever your career might be, if you look at it as a craft, if you look at it as something that you cherish and love and enjoy and benefit, it requires a high degree of mastery of the skills, of the knowledge base, whatever it might be. So I thought that might make for a short, interesting little topic of discussion. Mastery. What is it? And how can we attain it? I just paused there for a second because I'm just double checking to make sure. I think the signal might be wavering in and out. I'm in the meeting room, I'm on Wi-Fi. So I'll just keep going for a while and I'll check in. Let me just put my readers on and double check. We're good so far. If you're in there and you want to comment, go right ahead, say hello. I know this is an odd hour. On the East Coast, it's 5:30. Here in the Midwest, it's 4:30. So you can, if you're watching the replay, great. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate your interest. So back to mastery. What is self-mastery and how does one attain it? If you read the work of Dr. Goleman in Emotional Intelligence, it's a brilliant piece of work that he's been working on for quite some time. And he defines self-mastery as involving several aspects. First, there is self-awareness. Then there is self-management. And then there is implementation, self-implementation of what you learn. So for example, self-awareness, having the understanding, the recognition of how we feel about things, what's really going, our internal states, so that we don't overreact to things, so that we respond more calmly and more poised, so that we understand what's going on inside and how we're responding and or reacting, to the world. Then there comes the self-management, and that is the management of those feelings, the management of our emotions. So Daniel Goleman goes into this quite well. I love his work. If you haven't read his work on emotional intelligence, and he gets several follow-ups to it, and more recently, a very short and sweet book, Emotional Intelligence and the Brain. It's short, it's sweet, and it's an excellent look at neuropsychology, what's going on, very briefly, about brain research and how it relates to emotional intelligence. Then the third component, the third pillar, you could say, would be the implementation of that. And that's where I want to come with. If you've been following my posts on Facebook, if you've been following my work, as you know, I've been doing this for 46 years. Hard to believe. In fact, just coming up close to my anniversary. June 1 will be my 46th year with the Silva Method. It's my love, it's my passion. However, there are many outstanding modalities. You know that, I know that. There is a huge smorgasbord of information available to us. And in fact, it's become very noisy and very crowded, the field of personal development, spiritual development. And there's some really very, 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 very cool people to follow, books to read, modalities. It's quite an adventure. I agree, I'm with you. Well, here's my point. It has been my experience over the years that, frankly, nothing is really new. It's really not fair, in my opinion, completely accurate to say this is new. cutting edge. Even Jose Silva, way back in 1944, when he did his initial 22 years of research on what became known as the Silva Method. And when he went public in 66, all throughout his years, up until his passing in the late 90s, he would say, this is not new. It's based on age-old wisdom. It's based on studies in hypnosis. It's based on studies in meditation, what we call the Silva Method. It's based on positive psychology. It's based on biofeedback and studies back then of the brain. And now we could say it's based on what we know about in neuroscience. What was different, what was unique, was the organization, the packaging, the bringing together of these age-old principles in a meaningful way so that you and I could benefit. We could use it. And we wouldn't have to spend 30 years or more studying, to attain mastery. So I don't want to say it's a quick fix, because it certainly isn't, but it definitely accelerated the learning. It definitely boosted it so that we could learn faster and save lots of time and lots of money. And that's what I find here. As we move into the current years, boy, the game has changed a lot. And there's so many opportunities for you and I to learn. And what I find is basically what we're seeing is new twists, new perspectives, new ways of looking at age-old ideas. And now with the advent of more and more work in neuropsychology, we're beginning to understand the brain from a whole different perspective. So we're moving away from the, woo-woo. I used to be accused of, woo-woo, airy-fairy. I wish Mr. Jose Silva was still alive, because so much of what we were criticized about has now been so well documented. The evidence is there. You know that if you've been following this work. I know that too. So the point is, you've heard me say, it's not so much what you know. Think about it. Knowledge is one thing. Intellect is one thing. I can remember when I started in Boston in the early 70s, in my classes were periodically PhDs from MIT, from Harvard. Boston has so many hundreds of academic institutions, really excellent, fine schools. And these people meant well, and also psychologists and people who had more degrees than I knew existed. And at first, as a young 20-year-old, just starting out in this career, I was a full-time student starting, I was a little bit intimidated. How could I teach them anything? And what saved me was I began to realize intellectually they knew the material. They had a huge knowledge base. They were so well read. They read every philosopher and thought leader and psychologist going back so many decades up to the present. But they didn't implement it. They didn't integrate it, internalize it in such a way that they lived it, that they walked the talk. So they knew it, they could explain it academically, intellectually, and that's fantastic, and we certainly need that. But what was missing was the integration of the material. And that's really the key. So may I say it again? I've come to realize, I want to say this to you, with due respect, because you're smart, you're very intelligent, and many of you are so well read, and you've been through so many programs. You've got to remember, it's not what you know. It's not how much you know, or what you know, or how many books you read, or how many seminars you attend, or how many masters you study with, or how many master classes you attend. It's what makes the world of difference is what we do with it. And that takes integrating. And that, in my experience, in my opinion, is truly what mastery is about. Making it a part of us. So it takes what? Looking at our life, this is what I know. This is what I've attained in my life. This is what I've achieved. This is what I've been able to do in my life. This is my skill level. This is my skill level, my competency up to now. And now I take in the new knowledge, the new information, the new ideas, the new technology, whatever it may be, and I integrate it. I merge it with what I already know in such a way that now I actually excel. I raise the bar, my performance, my skill level, my competency, my levels of competency. And that's what really mastery is all about. And it's a process. It's a lifelong process. That's one of the things I love about this work, and I so appreciate people like you who afford me the opportunity to share my message, to share ideas and thoughts, because you keep me going. You really inspire me, and you guys are so cool. And we're really in this together. We're growing together. One of the things that I love about this work is I find that as I'm teaching, as I'm facilitating, for example, the immersion experience I'm beginning tomorrow of Life and Intuition System, it helps me to better understand, to deepen my understanding of the material. So intellectually, I know it. I could say it in my sleep, and I could explain it in my sleep. But it's another thing to look at your current reality, your current challenges. So here we are in a day and age where there's such a high level of uncertainty. There's so much misinformation. And I don't mean to belabor that, but in fact, on my ride from O'Hare Airport, I'm in Hoffman Estates, and I was in my taxi. And the driver, we were talking a little bit, because she had come from Poland, and I recognized the accent, so I tried to learn my Polish, because I've been to like 35 countries, and Poland I've been so many times, so it was really cool. And I know where she was from, but as we got out, she wished me well, I wished her well, have a good day. And she said something like, oh, it's too much, and she just was exasperated. I said, what do you mean? And how did I say it? I said something like, enjoy, and I don't remember my exact words, but she said, what life? Enjoy my life? All it is work, 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 and sleep. And I really felt for her, and yet I know what she means. How about you? Are you finding yourself overwhelmed with more and more families, both the husband and the wife raising a family, they both have to work and they need daycare. It has become, the prices are rising, everything costs more and more and more, and it keeps getting higher and higher, the prices. But the salaries of people in corporate, I was going to say America, but in the world at large, has been dropping. And many corporations have been dropping what they pay out, putting even more responsibility and demands. It's kind of a dangerous place, and again, in my opinion, to be, because that contributes to a feeling of overwhelm, and that contributes to a feeling of dread. And when we dread going to work, when we dread doing the things that normally, that we know we need to do, we get demotivated. We prematurely fatigue. We get headaches. We need more sleep. We need more rest. It's not a cool place to be. So for example, if you're an entrepreneur, and I don't think of myself as an entrepreneur. I'm a teacher at heart. I'm a teacher and a healer at heart. I've had to become more and more of a marketer. It's become my business in a sense, because the game has changed. In the past 10 years, and every year changes more dramatically. I'm really spoiled. In the early days of my work, all I had to do was run a small little advertisement that we're doing a class coming up in the next few weeks and the next month in Boston and Connecticut and Chicago, wherever I was teaching. And people showed up because they knew us. We were the only game in town. Everyone was investigating us. We had so much free publicity. But now with the internet, now with all the online training, and now with all the opportunities, and it's become so busy in the field of personal development, it's not enough to just show up. You gotta advertise, you gotta market, you gotta increase your visibility in social media, etc. I'm not complaining, guys, but it's a lot of work. So if you're building a business online, if you're building any kind of business, especially online, just look on Facebook, just look on social media. Every day there seems to be still yet another person wanting to teach us how to get more leads on Facebook, how to use LinkedIn, how to use social media, how to build your business. I mean, not one, not two, but it's just, I'm not able to keep up. And I wonder, how do you handle that? So talk about mastery. This is what's relevant about it. I found myself so eager to learn and so eager and feeling a little bit, I admit, invisible. The Silva Method, we're the people who started it all way back in 1966. It's hard to believe. Some of you never even heard of us. Or you heard of us, but you say, oh yeah, that's nice, I remember them. It's not a great feeling for me to think. It's a very powerful, systematic set of tools. I mean, there's a lot of great things out there, but I got to tell you, it'll turn your life around. It'll help you to take command of your life truly from the inside. I find that when people in business, when people in sales, when people in their life take this program, they're never the same. And they report that business has doubled, their business has improved by 10, 20%. It varies. I can't promise that. Or they've enriched their relationship, or their health improves dramatically. It's incredible. And yet sometimes it's hard to believe. So my point is this. I'm on a quest to learn how can I reach people like you more and more effectively and get the word out so that we increase our visibility. And I found myself attending more master classes than I knew existed. I found myself gathering more and more notes and more programs and getting, excuse me, but sucked in. Because everybody was promising how I reached 500,000 people on Facebook. And there's a gentleman by the name of George Cow. And if you follow him on Facebook, he's a really cool guy. And he talks about ethical marketing. I really resonate with his point of view because there comes a point where there's false promise. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. And yet, it's not that simple. You've got to take a look at everything it's going to take and all the steps and what skills you're going to need, what team you're going to need, what resources you're going to need, what capital you're going to need. Now, maybe you may not need a whole lot of capital, but you are going to need capital. And I'm one of those people, because the more I looked and the more I investigated, the more I said, oh my God, wow, there's really a lot to this. There are a lot of nuts and bolts and a lot of parts. And then you got to learn the tech, and then you got to learn the aspect, and you got to learn it first before you can train a team to do it. Again, it's not a complaint. All I'm saying is we need to be mindful of that, and that's my recommendation. That's a take-home for you. So I found I literally on my desk had piles like this. 3, 4, like this. I'm not joking. I'm serious. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not at home. I was going to show you in my office of 8.5 by 11, or excuse me, 8.5 by 14. You know, those yellow pads full of notes, really good information. And I found myself every week attending 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 webinars and gathering notes. And I was waking up in the middle of the night saying, oh my God, where do I begin? Where do I start? I was overwhelmed. I'm admitting it to you. And I found myself waking up in the middle of the night saying, I need a plan. I need to what? Focus. Maybe you know that already. So excuse me, perhaps you know that already. And I know that you know that. And if you don't, it's a friendly, it's a reminder and an urge to you. You've got to make up your mind and zero in and focus. Who do you resonate with? What thought leader? What modality, what resource, what trainer, what program, whatever it is. I hope it's a Silva Method and you afford me that opportunity. And the best way to do it, frankly, if you're really interested in spiritual transformation, you want to integrate this, you can do it, some things online, but live is where it's at, especially in our program. It's very interactive. We practice, it's deliberate practice. I know there's some cool online programs. I even do some master classes. I do some things online. I even have online offerings on my Trust Your Intuition Academy. Check it out, trustyourintuitionacademy.com. I'm being straight with you. If you really want to integrate it, make it a part of you so that it's lasting and sustain it live. Face-to-face is where it's at for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to attempt to go into the neuroscience of it, but I'm talking the science, not the personal preference, let alone the synergy of the group. So what happened was you got to focus. You got to make a decision. You can always change it. You can always redirect yourself. It's like sailing. You got to adjust your sail to stay with the wind. But if you're out there fishing and going from one to the other, it's going to cost you a small fortune of your time and even your money, and you're going to get overwhelmed. And if you get overwhelmed, nothing's going to happen, right? So the hope is that you'll focus and you'll zero in. And that's really what mastery is all about. I see some comments. Let me just take a look for a moment and pause. You're welcome, Margaret. Thank you. And Pooja, hey. Pooja is a instructor, Silva instructor, a colleague. She just was certified with me. She's in Singapore. She's got a beautiful holistic health center there that she's opened up. There are some very cool people, part of our team for the Silva Method all over the world. At one point, we were in 100 countries. I think now we're active in 60 or something, but a lot of countries offering the program. So I'm in the U.S., although I travel the world doing advanced programs. I travel the world working with a team of instructors because I'm the training director. I'm responsible for certifying people who want to be instructors. But basically our core foundation program, frankly, is where it's at. Life and Intuition System, what we used to call the Basic Lecture Series. And it's a 4-day program. Not 2, not 3, not 4 plus 1. The original research, Mr. Silva, is 4 days. And they fly by. I'm starting one tomorrow, Thursday through Sunday. So the point is, you come back as a reviewer. Why? Not because you don't know the material. You know the material. You have your resource book. And you pay your tuition once and only once. But you come back, why? To deepen your understanding. It's like peeling layers of an onion. That's what it takes for mastery. You've got to get over your blocks, your obstacles, because you get the information, the mechanics, what to do, how to do it. It's straightforward enough. And you know that you can read it in a book. And you get results, but invariably hit a plateau. When you hit that plateau, you feel like you're stuck. It happens. It's part of the human condition because we are not perfect and we have files upon files buried within our consciousness. So you are in meditation. Our program, we employ dynamic meditation. It's a big difference, dynamic meditation in the true sense. We are known as the American Dynamic Meditation System. To my knowledge, with due respect to Osho, not Osho, but Jose Silva, many decades ago, in fact, he trademarked it, the American Dynamic Meditation System, because he found meditation, beautiful, very important. Now there's mindfulness meditation, yoga meditation, transcendental meditation. There's many different variations. Excellent. Good investment of your time, my time. And it's passive, and we learn how to calm the mind, quiet down the monkey mind, relax the body so that we get into homeostasis, balance, which boosts the immune system, and we accelerate the healing. Excellent. We help us to think more clearly, so we are better. It helps us to have more energy and more vitality, so we perform better. We have, we do whatever we do far better. However, what Mr. Silva found is when you're in that altered state of consciousness, much like when you're sleeping, that alpha and theta, what the scientists in biofeedback have called alpha and theta brainwaves, you are indeed altering your state of consciousness similar to when one is using drugs or alcohol. It's the human condition. Throughout the ages, people have naturally wanted to feel good, to alter their consciousness, to put the brain on pause, to stop focusing so hard and to get so intense. Because when we get so intense, after a while we burn out. You can't take so much. So if you read Stealing Fire, excellent book, it talks about this. And throughout, I'm not making this up, this, throughout the ages. I remember when I was in college, everybody was getting high, everybody was partying. It's a natural tendency. Now, in my career, I'm helping people get high naturally. How to reach the same thing with no side effects and no risk whatsoever. Not quite like the drugs. Doesn't hit you over the head and take over, but you maintain control and you sustain it. And when you're in that altered state of consciousness, you literally have the opportunity to retrain your brain, to rewire. We know that now. The science demonstrates this fact. And all the studies show this. We are rewiring. So if you have obstacles, if you have challenges, and this is a specialty for me, yours truly, in the mastery. I call it the Silva Mastery System, a Silva Life Mastery. And I'm sorry, but it's really designed, I could customize it for any group, and I'd be happy to do that for your group. However, when I do it typically in the Silva network, only Silva Method graduates of the Basic Lecture Series or Life and Intuition System are invited and welcome because we build on the foundation of what we started. And there's a lot of referencing to techniques and tools that there won't be time to explain. And it wouldn't be fair to you, and it wouldn't be fair to the group who's already been through that. So that's really the intention. It's not about, hiding something or a secret group. It's about giving you great value. And it wouldn't be fair because, you wouldn't have that foundation to build on. It's really that. So, and I'm doing one June 3 and 4 in Farmington, Connecticut. If any reason can make it, I'd love to have you there. I have 9 seats left in that, and it'd be cool. But the point is this, you know what to do, you know how to do it, but you invariably hit a wall. and you know you can do better, but you don't do better, like you hit a wall. So where mastery comes in is overcoming, identifying what's holding you back, identifying what obstacles, what's in your path. And once you identify, that's where self-awareness comes in. You're identifying, you're understanding, so to speak, what makes you tick internally. Once you identify it, then you can apply, whether it be a forgiveness tool you're going to learn, or an appreciation tool, or how to get into the zone, so to speak, that flow state, how to change your personal history, because you know you can't change the past, it happened, but when you change how you feel about the past, you change your present and your future. And that's another tool you learn in Silva Mastery with me for that. So it's about, that's where mastery comes in terms of your personal and spiritual development, recognizing some of those tools. Or sometimes people make progress, right? They go just so far and then stop. But then if they freak out and start to worry, like, oh my God, I'm losing it, it gets worse. So we've got to manage that. And that's where the implementation of the skills. So it's one thing to know something. It's another thing to use it. As Brendan Bouchard said, I've studied some of his work, and maybe many of you have, in high performance. He said, just because it's common sense doesn't mean it's always common practice. And that's, again, part of mastery, is learning how to implement what you know in a meaningful way so that you get more results. I hope that makes sense and that you find it helpful and insightful. And boy, I'd love to meet you one day live. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity and for listening. And if you've listened here to the end with me, or you're watching the replay, thank you so much. More importantly, though, I hope you get more. If you'd like to pursue the Silva Method, especially if you're new, or if you're already a graduate and you've not met myself, yours truly, I would love to have you in one of my trainings, classes. I offer them regularly in Chicago area, just outside of Chicago, in Boston, and in all of New England, especially in Connecticut, where I make my home. Go to Silva Method of Connecticut or silvamethodct.com, and you get plenty of information. There's some video trainings. If you'd like to subscribe to my newsletter, I'm releasing now more and more free video training, more and more blogs that are not just, hi, how are you, but they're actual trainings, content rich, with the point of view of how to do it. That's my skill level. That's my high degree of mastery, how to do it. That's what the Silva Method is. It's not a philosophy. It's not an idea. It's a how to do it, how to implement it. And that's where I come in. If you are already a Silva Method grad, wherever you are, and if you can make it June 3 and 4 in Farmington, that would be so cool. You'll find more information. In fact, later after this, I'll post a link where you can find more information about it, the details, how to register, what it's about, or you can pop me an instant message, or you can email me. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, or even post them here, and I'll check them out. But you'll find them on the website, silvamethodct.com, under my name where it says your instructor, Ken Coscia. There's a drop-down menu. You'll find some info there. Check it out, guys. Especially if you're a grad. I highly recommend. I've been building it for 35 years, since 1984, when Mr. Jose Silva brought me in. At that time, there were thousands of instructors in 101 countries, and there were only 4 people in the world who were part of Mr. Silva's elite graduate advanced program. I'll always remember him, because here I was, still a young guy with, 13, 14 years experience. I remember the date. This was 84, 85. And he brought me in. There were 4 of us, and I became one, including Mr. Silva. And since then, it's become my passion. And in the recent years, I'm looking at neuroscience and neuropsychology, some of the advanced understandings, and always building, adding to the program so that we can understand ourselves more clearly, so that we can get more results, better results, and so that we can implement and achieve and sustain higher degrees of competency. So that being said, thanks again. This is Ken signing off, and let me look at some of the folks here. And on here, I'm not seeing. At this point, I know the hour is odd. Not a whole lot of people on live as far as I can tell. So until the next time, stay tuned.